Let me just ask you some, as I say, batting cleanup here. You mentioned vitamin C. 80% of the world's vitamin C comes from China?
Yes. And so,
there you go.
It's ingredients.
Is there any question that some of the vitamin C may not be up to standard?
I mean, that's an assumption on our part. I can't prove that to you, but I'm assuming that there's some problems based on the track records we see in other sectors.
Do we know if I'm...
Don't get a chairman, Mr.
Right, here it is. My multivitamin for every time I have a meal, and the vitamin C's in there. Do I know where that vitamin C is coming from?
No, I mean, we don't get this level of information as consumers.
So the American consumer, if some of us are concerned about the standards in China, we don't know that we are consuming something from China, and that's not on anywhere near on the label, right?
It may tell you what country it's made in as a processed food, but it's not going to go down every ingredient.
Can I add, Mr. Chairman,
go right ahead.
That besides for those supplements that you're shaking, that vitamin C ascorbic acid is a very, very common food ingredient in processed food. So if you read the fine print where those little novels are on the side of a food package, that's in there. And so there was some mention.
But it doesn't say where it's coming from.
No, it doesn't. So,
it just says vitamin C's in there, fine. But I personally go out of my way to try to not buy products in China because I have concluded, that's one of the reasons we're holding this hearing, is because the chairman has concluded that there are some major questions that need to be answered and some challenges that need to be met before we can trust our putting things into our body or into our family's body that might be harmful.
Industry has fought like hell against country of origin labeling. Cool. We would really encourage this body and all members of Congress to defend the rights of the American public to make informed choices in the marketplace. Not only do I not want to buy Chinese food in my household, I want to reward the businesses in the United States that employ people at fair wages, that meet pollution and other regulatory standards, that meet other labor standards. And I can't do that in most of the food I buy because the processed food, as Patty was stating, is not required to be labeled.
I actually shop a lot for my family. I mean, I like to shop. And I know I'm going to shock everyone here, but I really like to go to the 99-cent store. Okay? So I go to the 99-cent store, and you have all of these labels that are sounding so American. I mean, Honey Hill and Aunt Martha's this, and all of these things that sound just so down-home American, and then you look real close and little tiny print, it says China on it.
It's even worse than that. You have brands like Chicago Pneumatic that makes tools. They're from China. I mean, maybe there's a town called Chicago and one of the provinces there, but I don't think so.
or as the one there used to be, there was they changed the name of a city in China to USA, USA, and so they could print on it "Made in USA." And well, we are up against what I consider to be a very how do we say an adversary that is seeking benefit in a way that will put our children and our families at risk. And we need to make sure that there are people in our country, of course, who are making a profit by dealing with those who are putting us at risk. And I think that we need to make sure that, number one, labeling means something, and that I'll give you one example. This in my area, there's a gentleman who runs a paint and coating company, and he used to sell all the paint for Mattel dolls. Now, I happen to have two daughters who are 9 years old, and I know what little kids do with dolls. They kiss little dolls. And when the Chinese bought Mattel, or bought the rights, or Mattel decided to contract with the Chinese, the Chinese came to his company, and he described how he had to make sure he had the right kind of paint that would not be at all risky to the health of the consumer of that doll. And they, sure enough, then they decided to go forward with their own formula, and Mattel dolls, after about a year, were found to have lead paint. And so you have all these little kids kissing their doll, thinking, and with Americans having trusted Mattel, a very trusted, label, and not to do something like that, but those children are being put at risk because Mattel had decided to manufacture in China. And by the way, that situation was cleared up. Only because it took a huge fight, and it took a great amount of spotlighting the issue, and for that to happen. I think this has been a very good hearing. And now, do either of you have another question you'd like to throw up?